Hey guys, this is the fourth video in the four-part series detailing like a retrospective looking at the first year in production of my game. So the first video was story, second video characters or character, third video purpose, this fourth one is passion. So passion is what I enjoy, that I want to create and I want to infuse into my game. So things like discussing where that came from, like level to the degree of what I'm trying to achieve. Some games try and achieve something and they fall quite short. Other games try and achieve something and they overachieve or they bang on. So things like that, kind of what I see as mandatory, what I see as absolutely amazing to have, and what I see as like nice to haves. So in terms of the passion, I'd say the main bits would be around games. Surprise, surprise. But there's elements of story in there from movies. Um, if we start with movies, this game is set in space. There's like a mystery, survival, thriller, tense sort of experience that I'm aiming for, and I'd, I've taken a fair bit of inspiration from Event Horizon. So not so much I'm trying not to spoil it, but not so much the blood and gore, though there will be a lot of it. As you can see, everything's kind of clean right now. Yeah, except from a couple of the monsters. But imagine everything in Event Horizon, but maybe 75% of the blood and gore. So that's quite a big. That left quite a big impression. Maybe aspects of Aliens, so like Alien 2, with like the tense, when they have that scanner, so they know something's about, but they don't know whether it's like up or down. They what would you say? They don't know the X axis, the Z axis, so up and down. They just know whether it's left, right, forwards or backwards, behind them or in front of them, to the left or to the right. So that sort of thing. I know this is a 2.5D game, so uh, yeah. I don't know if I will have a radar system, but that intenseness, like the beep. Another really good one would be like Silent Hill 1. The radio when it starts crackling when the enemies are nearby. I played that far too young, and I used to turn it off because I couldn't handle the suspense and the tenseness of that crackle. But something like that, I'd love to infuse into it. It's almost like the suspense like builds and breeds itself because you create the enemies, you create the tracker, you create like I suppose the volume scale for how close they are, and the rest is just, well, it looks after itself, doesn't it? You don't need to kind of have scripted events so much as you just need to make sure, like, if there's enemy about, then suspense happens. So I really like that organic sort of suspense. Not the, oh, I know someone's going to jump out, or you get ready for the jump scare. And even if the jump scare still gets you, oh, it doesn't get you, you kind of know it's coming, and I don't enjoy that. I like it to feel like natural and organic. So that's the angle of like suspense and thriller, um, horror side of it that I'm going for from like a movie side. In terms of a game interest, Dead Space is a good one, the first one, but it kind of does go to like 0 to 100 really quickly. I don't want it to do that. I kind of want it to go like a 0 to like a quick shock to maybe like 50. and then back to kind of like 25, and then a quick shock up to 75, and then down to 50. So you see, a bit like you're trying to fill a bucket with holes in it, rather than the suspense just perpetually build and stack and stack and stack. It's water in a bucket with holes. So um, yeah, so you see it starts to dissipate, dissipate, dissipate. Heart rate's a good one. So when you're anxious or you're doing lots of exercise, heart rate goes through the roof. Um, Subjective, obviously. So a lot of exercise to you could be like next to nothing, or your anxiety could be next to nothing, but your heart rate could be really high, comparable to someone else. But something like that. So it builds, it dissipates, it starts to kind of seep away, and then it builds up again. Dead Space was really good at building that sort of atmosphere, but it was very much like 0 to 100, and then down to kind of like 75, and then 100, then 75, then 175. There was you, well, obviously there's constant attacks, wasn't it? And it's more of an action, survival horror. That infused with like the perfect go-between of like Dead Space, but imagine it's a bit more gentle on its approach to intensity with Resident Evil 1, so you don't really know what's going on. And then, yeah, there's like that, almost like a flash to 100, isn't there, when that you see that first zombie, and then it goes quiet, and then it just comes back, and it comes back, and it comes back. So, yeah, a little bit more than Resident Evil 1, somewhere in between, a bit more than Resident Evil 1, and a bit less than Dead Space 1, is the suspense side of survival horror, suspense survival horror, action, that sort of flow. Uh, Now what else? The main, yeah, the main pulls for me are Dead Space, Resident Evil, Event Horizon. In terms of functionality, functionality in terms of passion, I'm really keen on sneaking in bits of crafting, and what I mean by that is Resident Evil 3 uh, had this like fantastic ammo crafting system it just came out of nowhere. Like, it wasn't in one, wasn't in two, and then like bam, and there's this fantastic sort of ammo crafting thing, and you can do different sorts of ammo. And do you use these? Do you use like gunpowder A and gunpowder A right now to get these bullets, or do you wait until you get like another gunpowder, you get like a bigger gunpowder A or gunpowder B, and that combines and makes more? And like it's like a trade-off between, do you want standard ammo now, or do you want to be more conservative, run the risk of having less ammo or not enough ammo, but then when you do get more components, you then can get more powerful ammo. Um, I really like that. So I've already got ammo types in. Some weapons have two, so like kinetic, which I'm kind of just like full metal jacket, just like standard, um, and AP, which is armor piercing. Um, Shotguns have like standard. Well, I say standard. There's a bunch of different types. Uh, Buckshot, I think, would be the correct one, because bird shot would just, what does Chappelle say, pepper them up nicely. So zombies, they're not proper zombies. They're not all of them anyway. But you know, like, what's bird shot gonna do? So yeah, buckshot is the main one, and then there's dragonfire is the secondary. The submachine gun and the assault rifle have kinetic and armor piercing, and then there's like essentially a grenade launcher with, you can like do like shock, poison, acid, fire, ice. I think that's it for that one. And then a couple of, I call them energy weapons, but I feel Fallout Fallout as just like energy weapons just seem they're cool, but they're a bit camp. They're a bit bland and pathetic, aren't they? In Fallout. So whenever I think of energy weapons, I think of that, and I'm probably not the only one. So there are a couple of energy weapons, like a plasma rifle, what you call a heat rifle, and then there's like a laser one, which is a like a cell rifle. They have, I know Fallout has like standard ammo and then like an overcharge. This one has like a standard and then like a fire, so it's just more combustible, more likely to burst into flames. It's not it's not spewing laser fire. Um, yeah, and the bunch of weapons like that, they have all these little nuanced things. And like, let's face it, you're on a ship that's going to its exploratory mission, and it's like it's not gonna have 500 shells of ice grenade launcher. It's ridiculous, isn't it? So you can craft a lot of this custom stuff. You can get a lot of standard stuff floating around, but you've got to craft the custom stuff. And another thing I absolutely love to do with that ammo is Resident Evil 1 was brilliant for, you pick up a gun, you pick up the ammo, and you get these clips. But it's like, are people just dropping full clips? And like, why are people just dropping bullets? If there's clips everywhere, full clips, like all of, sorry, magazines. If there's magazines everywhere with all these bullets in it, where are all the bullets? Like, is there never a spare bullet? So I'm incorporating single rounds or single shells, as well as partial magazines. The the full magazines or clips, but I don't really think I've got any clips. Uh, I think yeah, they're all kind of magazines right now. I guess shotgun might be clips. There is a clip extender for the shotgun actually. So yeah, shotguns have clips for racking, fast rack the bullets. But yeah, there's like single rounds, single entities. There's full capacity entities, and then there's partial. Partial will work on a rand, which not only do I want it to be a rand between the minimum and the maximum, but I want it to be customizable in terms of the difficulty you're playing at. So, but I also don't want difficulty to just be like, oh, hard mode, less bullets, hard mode, harder to kill. I want I want there to be like a nuanced difference. So, hard mode isn't one to one connected with ammo frequency. I'm thinking I'll set that up as a secondary functionality that you can unlock after you first play the game and after you first complete it. XCOM's a good example of this, and then XCOM 2 finally did it with War of the Chosen, that expansion pack, where you complete the game, you come back to it, and you've got a bunch of extra granularity settings for whether you want bullets to not, you know, be more variant in like a min and max in their damage and things like that. Whether just lots of combinations to tweak the difficulty. I really like that side of it, so that's getting incorporated. Um, Questing. So there's the questing side. I've taken a lot of inspiration from, I guess, a combination of Dead Space and Resident Evil, because Resident Evil's quest is sorry, it's kind of self-explanatory, isn't it? There isn't even a mission objective really. It's just survive. And Dead Space is, I feel it kind of goes a bit too deep into like, oh, do this quest now do this quest, now do this quest. So there's these side quests. So again, something a bit more than Resident Evil, a bit less than Dead Space is the questing system. So there will be secondary quest systems, but not as right. This is your next objective. This is your next objective. I want it to be a bit more not backtracking so much as in still Metroidvania style, where you kind of need to backtrack because you've got a new item and it unlocks another area. Exhumed is a good example of this. So you need to come back to previous levels because you've now got like a new key to open, or a new feature, like a new ability, like being able to fly or swim faster, hold your breath longer, or you finally got explosives so you can blow a wall with a crack in it. Um, so that sort of backtracking, so fun backtracking, not just back and forth for the taking up time. So that aspect will be infused. I really like aspects where the main character, or well, your character in a game, questions their sanity. In films as well, but um, Constantine, for example, where there's demons living on Earth, but he can see them, and some people can see them, but not everyone can see them. That sort of psychosis, it flashes into kind of hell. Silent Hill, good one as well, when there's like that little ringing, isn't there? And then it goes from like um, doom gloom city, little town, to like hell on earth town, like a hell equivalent of it. That, but not so much in that just being for everyone, or it kind of happens and you just kind of accept that happens. More kind of you question whether it's you, if it's only you experiencing it or everyone's experiencing it. Um, so true sort of subjective psychosis rather than we're all in like the hell version now, we're all in the normal version now, and all the other characters kind of just like yeah it is what it is. Uh, yeah, build upon that. So again, Silent Hill's tenseness, where you might not see an enemy for a while, and then suddenly you see like that first bit, the alleyway. We run down the alleyway, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Cool little things like that. So yeah, quite a bit of inspiration from survival horror films and movies. I don't want things to be it can be if you want it to be. You can think very linearly and be like, good guys, bad guys, black and white. This is what I need to do. This guy's the bad guy. I need to stop this bad guy. I need to do this. You can work like um, linearly like that, but there will be avenues to work non-linearly. So, is the bad guy really the bad guy? Do you give them a chance to plead their case? Um, like bad things still happen, but a good person can do bad things intentionally. A good person can do bad things unintentionally. A bad person can do good things intentionally. A bad person can do good things unintentionally. So you see, there's that greyness there. D&D's like Dungeons and Dragons is quite good at the greyness. So there's like lawful, chaotic, and uh, neutral. Well, there's like lawful, evil, and neutral, and then in there you can have like good, lawful, chaotic, lawful, neutral, lawful, that sort of thing. Like you see in history where some people just do it because they do something evil because they just want to, or because they truly hate the thing they're doing evil to. Other people in history, its ends justify the means, or like a necessary risk, or collateral sort of mindset. So you can see it linearly, the story, if you want to, but there's absolutely room to see it non-linearly. And if you want to be a person play it black and white, it can be black and white. If you want to be someone that sees the grey in it, it can be someone that sees the grey in it. I suppose this all kind of sounds like quite a task, but yeah, I spent about a year, just over a year, writing this up. So I've got like 42,000 words. I call it like a manuscript document. So it's got the story, the weapons, the enemies, the NPCs, the functionality between them, new game plus, uh, traits. So I want on like a second playthrough. traits can come into it. So you can be like usual stuff. So like 25% more resistant to acid, but then maybe other traits, a bit like the Dark Souls ones, where sometimes you get really daft starting items, but then you find out it gives you something fantastic later on. That, but in trait form. So again, Dark Souls is a has an angle to it. Certainly, it's rogue-like elements, but not as open and shut linearly rogue-like elements. Think more like an RNG rogue-like elements fused into a story which can be seen as linear or non-linear. Um, yeah, it'll be a task, but I'm well aware of what I need to do, and everything I've just discussed are things that I know. I talked about things that I'd like to do, things that are mandatory, and things that are like above and beyond. Everything I've discussed there is mandatory in my eyes. Um, Above and beyond would be if I can if I can do it just right. I'd like to do a Resident Evil 3 Mercenaries. So you pick one of the Umbrella mercenary group people, and you go and save those people. And yeah, it's the same game, but you start in a different place. Don't you? Start the tram, and then you go off, and you've got a time limit. I'd like to do a mercenaries like that. I don't know if I'll put a time limit in. I think I'll put the option in to just never have a time limit, or you can have one, but it's not going to be like a score attack. So, or S grade, A grade, all that sort of stuff. Uh, it will track your stats on this mode, but it's not going to be do it as absolutely as fast as you can. It's just who you've managed to save, maybe like how many enemies you take down, how many bullets you used. Um, yeah, so I'd love to create that on top as a nice to have. So in terms of passion, that's like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, the original one, the Mercenaries mode, and I'd say right now that's about it. There's an extra element of the game, kind of around third act, where you reach Mercury, and oh, how to describe it? I'm trying to think of a game that describes it well. A bit like oh, on Dead Space 3, you you I can't remember if you crash land or you get out, but you're in like a snowy planet, aren't you? And you're kind of traversing through it. Something like that, but not as intense, would be Act 3. So yeah, there'll be like no snowstorms really. So it'll again the buckets like a bucket with holes in it, water analogy. There will be elements of the game where it's like sudden tranquility, but you still know your mission. You still there's the importance of everything's still there, but you're suddenly like, oh, there's not many enemies around here. So those sort of switches, and the Act 3 when you make it to Mercury, there will be enemies there, but um, it's my intention to make it a stark contrast from spaceship version of the game to non-spaceship version of the game. It's almost like I want to create games within a game, so like sub games within the game, just because the atmosphere changes, your priorities change. Because there'll be times in the game where you're just like, oh, I can't reach. So I've got in the mouse that bar, the bottom one, the green one. Can't let that go to full because that's full infection, or like obviously health. You can't let your health go all the way down to the bottom. That's like your main thing, isn't it? It's survive, survive. And then there'll be elements where you're like, okay, so I've got enough ammo, I've got enough health. There's not a lot of enemies about. Um, what do I need to do? I need to figure out what the next steps are. So, and a bit more interrogation. A really good example it actually is all the Resident Evils. When you go to the lab modes, when you enter the lab element of the game, I cannot think of a single. I haven't played 6. I do not like 6. I refuse to play 6. I played all the others. I've completed every one except from a couple of the Gun Survivors. I completed the original Gun Survivor on PS1 a million times with the no save. Uh, not, I don't think I've completed the Wii ones, and I haven't completed Code Veronica because it was just too hard when I was a kid on the Dreamcast, and I've just been desperate for it to come out on PC, and I've burned through it. But all the others, certainly the classics, I've played them, and every single one where there's a lab element, there's like the quietness and like the tranquility, and even when the zombies come out or the monsters come out in the lab, it's still a different atmosphere to like the mansion or the sewers, or I don't think there is a forest, is there? Not that you really walk around in, or like the gardens, or you know what I mean. The lab is it's almost like a sterile environment. Like the mood is sterile, so it's still there, but it's sterilized. It's more clean, black and white mood. I really want. Well, I say I really want. That is what like that's not only mandatory, but that's like above and beyond mandatory. Like it's definitely happening, but I want to do the utmost best. This video's been going a long while. I'm conscious I don't want to ramble, but yeah, the main takeaway is my passion for this game is I don't want it to be a pure money maker. I don't even want, regardless what it sells for, how popular it is. My main focus is on making something not good, but just like fantastic. But not only fantastic, but fantastic and sticks in your mind forever. Think of Halo Combat Evolved, even before the sequels, which some were fantastic, absolutely, even some potentially even better. But Halo Combat Evolved sticking in your mind. Resident Evil 1 sticking in your mind. Silent Hill 1. Um, really, really sticks, like it holds something. It takes up permanent residency in your mind for something like, wow, wasn't that just like groundbreaking? Wasn't that just like brilliant? There's something about it, it's just, oh, it's fantastic. Baldur's Gate 3, I'm really experiencing that a lot there. So I could be 65 years old in 30, 30 years and 2 months and 2 days, and it will still be stuck in my mind for how just like wow that was. And obviously, there's things that they could have done better. There's things that they've had to cut. Shame about no DLC or sequels and things like that. Like they're going, Larian's gonna go do its other stuff, but still, it's made a lasting impact, like almost like a mark on your soul. That is what I'm really striving for. I want it to make a mark on people. Um, Subnautica did that to me actually, the first one. Radically different game. Still had like the survival horror suspense stuff. Really, the water suspense is absolutely amazing. What like the 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Tomb Raider 2. I've got the remastered version. I haven't played 2 yet. I'm going to do it linearly with my eldest daughter loves watching me play it. But yeah, even now, last time I played that 40,000 Leagues Under the Sea level on Resident Evil 2 must have been about 20 years ago minimum, and it still left a mark on me for just like how just like brilliantly tense and scary and amazing and exciting it was. And yeah, that is the best way I can describe it what I want to go for in this game. The assets you see here, as I've discussed in other videos, these are version 3s, so they are full size assets without polish. The They're actually like a cube, 140 by 140 pixels, but they are diminished to half of that because the entire world has been built to a 70 by 70. So when I upscale those doors to 140 to 140, upscale everything else uh, to the size it should be, the aspect it should be, then the characters aspects will be like full one scale of itself. So the game will look exactly the same, but they'll be scaled up because yeah, just pull a bit more granularity to it. The normal maps you see are not ideal. I'm currently using edge normals in I think it's yeah, what's it like Asprite? Asprite, yeah. The oh you can't see it. Let me click on it and show you this. So currently normal maps look like this. So you get a picture and I just go like scripts edge normal and it does that. But I want to paint the normals so they look really good in the light. We also see these people don't have shadows, which I think is because I haven't ticked on cast shadows, I believe, because you see the enemies do cast shadows and me. So yeah, that I'd say is the best way of describing kind of top level, middle level, bits of like lower level granularity for my passion. You'll be able to see it in my work. Things are only ever going to get better. Uh, I've been looking forward to doing this for a long while, and now I think the best way to describe it is I'm too big to fail at this point in time because I know what I need to do. I just need time and effort, consistency, perseverance, and it'll happen. I know it's not perfect. I know what I'd like to have. I know what I need to change. I know what I need to upgrade. I know what I need to make. I know what I need to develop. I know what I need to expand on. It's all written down, wrote down, and or it's in my head, or it's in my notebooks, or it's in the discussions I have with my children when they generally ask me questions about it. And yeah, it's all there. It's just time under tension. Good way to describe it, and it'll happen. Thank you for your time. And yeah, this is the last video of the year one. Year two should be even better. Year two will be like leaps and bounds. But yeah, until then, see you later.